Okay, we'll get started. We'll go with James then. First up from Sky Sports News. Go ahead.
Hi, David. Good to see you. Warm-up games all done now. Time for the real thing. What are the biggest things you've learned from those two warm-up games as a bowling unit?
Yeah, I think probably the biggest thing has been the amount of dew and sweat. That's been something we've had to, try and manage very quickly in those games. But moving forward, we've got to think about, how we're going to keep our hands dry, keep our arms dry, and dry the ball, and also be able to, bowl with a wet ball in the proper games coming up.
What can you do about that, and can you replicate that in practice?
Yeah, it's something we've discussed and we'll certainly be doing. Even if it's just dunking balls in buckets and catching, fielding, and bowling with these wet balls. But we're probably getting some more towels on the way to change them every over for the lads that have that are heavy sweaters and sweatbands and things. So there's some things we can do. It's never going to be perfect, but it's certainly putting things in place to make it manageable on field, but also practice with the wet ball.
And you've been without your captain, Owen Morgan, for this preparation period. How much of an impact does that have, and how disconcerting is it that he's not in form, and he's talked about perhaps dropping himself even?
Look, I think the good thing about this group is that everyone's been together for such a long period of time, and the messages are so consistent from Morgs. I don't think it has a massive impact. When he's not there in the preparation, everybody knows what's expected. Everybody knows how we want to play, and we sort of go about our business, and nothing changes really. But Morgs is one of those guys. He turns up when it counts. So don't be surprised if he has an absolute blinder of a tournament and comes out as top run scorer or something like that. Cause he's one of them players. He's a match winner with a bat, but his captaincy alone is phenomenal.
I was going to say, does his captaincy almost outweigh his batting, or how do you see that?
I wouldn't say it outweighs his batting. I think there's no denying he's a brilliant captain, and his record and the number of games he's played for England speaks for itself. I don't think there's anything further to comment on that.
And you were part of the team in 2016, that final against the West Indies. Will that be on your mind at all when you open the tournament against them?
No, I don't think so. I think there's things we've learned from that. We've talked about slowing the game down towards the back end. That final over seemed like it happened within the space of a few seconds. So we have talked about learning from our experiences, and should we find ourselves in those sort of situations, to slow the game down and do it at our pace and make sure we take the time that we need. And we've also run some sort of small scenario things, sort of one ball scenario type things that is great preparation leading into the tournament.
And you were desperately unlucky in 2019 to miss out on the World Cup success then. I wonder, would this be extra special if you could be a part of a World Cup success here?
I think whether you've been involved in one or not before, I think it's extra special to be part of a World Cup success. So look, I'm happy to be back involved. Obviously I'm not here to just have a nice time. Obviously I want us to go on and win the World Cup. So I don't think it massively changes my sort of outlook on the competition, the disappointment of the previous 50 over World Cup. I just want to turn up and play and hopefully contribute to some success.
And very finally for me, you're going to take a knee alongside the West Indies. Can you just give us an idea of how you came to that decision and why you guys think that's important, please?
If I'm honest, it's news to me. I wasn't aware that what was happening leading into the competition. So,
no worries. Thank you, David. Go well.
Yes, thank you.
Just before we go on, just on that point, the captain's going to speak to the playing group tomorrow about it in the huddle. That's probably the reason why David's not aware of it. So that'll be done at training tomorrow in terms of the details of we're hoping to achieve it during this tournament with whether we'll take a knee after the West Indies game. Going forward, we will take questions from David Charlesworth and then Matt from Cricinfo. Go ahead, David.
Thanks, Danny. Hi, David. Just going back to the 2016 final there, David, you took the best figures of any bowler in the final. I think it was 3 for 20. I was just wondering, as well as that final, you've also starred in other like domestic finals. I was just wondering if you get up for the really big occasions. Is that something that really drives you on?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's why a lot of, particularly these guys that are in the England squad, play the game, for big games, playing big matches. And I'm no different. That's where we want to be playing our best cricket. And, I certainly like to think I thrive in those positions. And the role that I play within the England side is probably most suited to my game, actually. So, as I say, it was disappointing not to get across the line then, but hopefully I can contribute to success moving into this competition.
Just to satisfy my own curiosity, really, you've never come in higher than 7 for England in T20s, but you bat a lot higher in some domestic tournaments. Have you ever discussed that with Owen or with England at all? Maybe as a bit of a surprise, or like to break up a run of right-handers or anything like that?
Who am I going to bat higher up for? Whose place can I take up there? We can't get them all in as it is. No, I don't think I've got a valid point if I go to them and sort of say I should be batting higher up. I think, I think they've got me covered, to be fair.
No, that's a very fair point. And just finally from me, how close to the 11 do you think you are?
Probably within 4 of being in the 11. So, I've got no idea. I've been given no indication. If we go well, hopefully I play a part of that, but I've got no idea how close I am.
Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Okay, let's go Matt and then John Etheridge.
Hi, David. Could I get you to talk a bit about bowling to left-handers, please? West Indies look like they've got quite a lot of left-handers in their top order, and you've got a pretty good record against them over the course of your career.
Yeah, that ball's swinging away from the left-handers. In all formats can be dangerous, and I think in white ball when they're looking to be aggressive, hopefully that sort of goes in my favour. So I think last time I played them, I did all right as well, albeit I think I got most of my wickets with slower balls. But I've got a good record. I've been told I've got a good record against left-handers. I sometimes actually find it hard to bowl to them, but I believe I've got a decent record, and hopefully that might swing in my favour for getting the nod in that first game.
And also, I suppose people would generally think of you as being a new ball bowler in T20. Do you feel like you've made some improvements with death bowling, so you're a good option in that phase if called upon? Have you learned any new tricks over the last couple of years?
Yeah, I've been working on a new slower ball, and a lot of bowling at the death is executing your skills. So I've spent a bit of time doing that. Typically for England, I actually don't bowl some of the final overs. I sort of bowl towards the back end, but without getting into them last couple of death overs. So, I think that probably suits me best, but I'm fairly confident with my skill set that should I be called upon at that phase of the game, I can contribute.
Thanks very much.
Okay, let's go John, Dean, and then we'll take one more after that. Go ahead, John.
Hi, I was just talking about the heat. I mean, is this as hot as you've ever known over here?
I think when we toured Bangladesh, we had a warm-up game that was a bit hotter, but it's certainly up there. It's just one of them, when you start sweating, you just cannot stop it. You're just saturated from head to toe. So, as I said earlier, it's one of them things we've got to manage. It's not going to go away, so it's just about finding how we cope best with it, and putting those things in practice to make sure we're comfortable, holding the ball and delivering our skills when that ball is wet.
Does it make it more difficult to swing the ball?
I think early on, to be honest, the humidity and things I think can help the ball swing. And generally, those first couple of overs, it's not until you start running around and in the field a little bit more that you get that sweat on. So from the first warm-up game, it didn't affect me in those first couple of overs I bowled. But as the game went on, just that sweat builds up and the moisture builds up.
Thanks, cheers.
Dean, go ahead.
Yeah, hi David. I just wondered, you obviously handled that situation in 2019 with very good grace, and I think you went on your social media kind of talking about there being kind of more important family things in life, and that kind of helped you cope with it. I just wondered whether you feel like it has made you a better man, a better player, more experienced at the way, having gone through that disappointment, and whether that will have any impact on either the success or disappointment that you may have during this tournament.
Yeah, definitely. I'm very lucky to have my wife there as well as the kids. It gave me a bit of perspective and the support away from cricket that I probably needed at that time. So yeah, I think it's definitely made me a better person. It's I don't think anything that happens in my cricketing career will ever be as sort of bad or disappointing as that. It's what you grow up as a kid. You want to play in a home World Cup. It's what you play in the garden. It's what you play in your living room as a kid, playing in the World Cup final. And to be a part of it for 4 years and obviously miss out was disappointing. But I think the personal growth from me there on, and probably refocusing back on just enjoying my cricket, has been massive for me, and it's probably why I'm sat here today. Back playing for England and played it as if it's going to be my last. I think, leading up to that World Cup, I was looking over my shoulder thinking, if I don't get 5 for it, if I don't, my economy's not really good or whatever, I'm probably going to be out of the team and out of the World Cup. And you end up not enjoying your time there. You're putting yourself under so much pressure. So, as I just said, I just playing every game as if it's my last, and really savouring the moment of putting on that England shirt, because it's not something you get to do every day, and it's a pretty special occasion every time you do it. So when I am finished playing for England, whenever that may be, I want to finish with fond memories.
For those of us on the outside, we kind of enjoy picking our 11 and trying to work out, you've got so many options. One of the, I guess, contests might be between yourself and Timar as a left arm quick bowler. Obviously you have different skills, but did you think that there's a contest there between you as the left armers, and what do you think that you bring that might give you the edge?
Oh, thank you for calling me a quick bowler. I don't get happy with that. I think, look, I don't actually see T as direct competition. I think we'd probably bowl at slightly different phases of the game, and with a very different skill set, really. I'm looking to swing that ball and pitch it up, and in the power play, and I imagine, I think even domestically, he's bowled a lot more sort of through the middle and towards the back end, rather than them at early overs. So, if I don't really see it as being a sort of either him or myself, to be honest.
Okay, great, thank you.
Cheers, Dean. Last one, Simon Wilde.
Hi, David. Just going back to the issue of the heavy dew. You must have played in plenty of white ball games where there's been heavy dew. Is it a problem more for the spinners or the seamers? I mean, does it affect the team you might pick if you think the dew is going to be a big factor in the game?
There's no denying if spinners, if they're trying to grip the ball, it's going to be a challenge if it's soaking wet. I think the pitches have typically sort of been slow and difficult against spin through the middle, so there's that they're going to play, obviously, and they're a big part of our game as well. So I think the biggest thing for the seamers really is when you're looking to, particularly towards the back end, when you're probably sweating the most, is just being confident about bowling Yorkers. And the margin for error when you're doing that so small, it just becomes more challenging, and you can become a little bit nervous about bowling no balls and flat ones when that ball is wet. So all you can do is practice and put the things in place to try and keep your hand dry and keep the ball as dry as possible. So it's going to be a challenge. We've discussed it, and we're doing everything we can to be in the best position moving into the games to get that right and manageable. And you can't really do a lot more than that.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Okay, we're done. Thank you, everyone. Catch you all being well tomorrow. Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers.